Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points of Phillip, and I actually want to get into talking about my core wallet now that I'm kind of ending a lot of my sign-up bonus spending for the year. And so we're going to get into what I spend regularly and why. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know that what I'm doing is helpful for people like you. And by doing that, it also helps more people to watch the content, which I would really appreciate. If you'd like to further support the channel, memberships are available. The base tier gets you access to all members-only videos, which drop once a week. And then the middle tier gives you access to early access to videos that I drop on a regular basis. And then the top tier gives you personalized access to for credit card recommendations, advice, things like that. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into my core wallet. So let's take a look at the overview. Most of my core wallet is going to be pretty much the American Express Gold Card, with its incredible 4 points per dollar back on dining and grocery purchases. Now I'm also going to add this Saver card through Capital One, and that's going to be for streaming and entertainment purchases. So that gets 3 points per dollar on both of those categories, which is pretty nice. I'm also going to use the Venture for general travel and shopping. Now the only other comparable category that I have in my wallet is this Chase Sapphire Preferred, but that gets 2 points per dollar on travel, where if I use the Venture, I don't really have to guess whether or not that's actually going to code right because I get 2 points per dollar on every purchase, which I prefer. Then I also will have the Mesa card, which I'll use for housing expenses, and we can get into that in a minute. Now, I'm also going to talk about the fact that I'm going to carry the Platinum card in my wallet for airfare and hotel purchases that aren't Hilton. And then I'm going to carry the Blue Business Plus for business expenses. So that's kind of an top level view of my wallet. Now let's get into each of the cards and why it deserves space in my wallet. All right, let's talk about the American Express Gold Card first up. Now, for those of you that don't know, it has 4 points per dollar on dining, grocery purchases, but it also gets 3 points per dollar on airfare purchases directly with the carrier or through the portal, and then 2 points per dollar on hotel purchases prepaid through the portal, which I don't really use that card for that. Now, it does have a $325 annual fee, but it has a $120 dining credit that's available at Grubhub, Wine.com, Cheesecake Factory, Goldbelly, and Five Guys. Now, I'm also going to use the $120 Uber Cash credit, and that comes in the form of $10 each month to my Uber Cash account, which I can use for ride shares, and I can also use it for food, Uber Eats or something like that. There's also a $100 Resi credit, which comes in the form of $50 every 6 months, and then there's an $84 Dunkin' credit as well. And so between all those credits, it actually makes this card very easy to hold for me because, well, I naturally shop at a lot of those places anyway, and, well, I really like that 4 points per dollar on those two high spending categories for me and my family. So that's going to be a kind of my first primary card. Now let's talk about the Capital One Saver. Now this card gets 3 points per dollar on dining, grocery, entertainment, and streaming purchases. So it also gets 1 point per dollar on everything else, which I'm not going to worry about too much. Now I like that I can transfer that cash back I get from this card to the Venture card for transferable points. So essentially, in effect, this cashback card earns 3 points per dollar if I decide to go that way. But I also have that flexibility that if I need the cash back for whatever reason, I can use it for that as well. So that's kind of 1-2, which is kind of interesting because most people compare the Saver to the Gold card, but I think they complement each other actually quite nicely because a lot of the transfer partners that I use with American Express are also available in some form from Capital One. And so, well, that's some nice synergy there. Now let's take a look at the Capital One Venture card. So this one comes with a $95 annual fee, but it does have a $50 portal credit through the Capital One Travel. And, I haven't used that yet, but we'll see. Now that you get 2 points per dollar on any purchase with no caps, which is kind of incredible. And then this card gives me access to Capital One transfer partners, which honestly are not bad as long as you're not looking for hotels. Although choice could be interesting, but there are other options with like say Citi or Wells Fargo. So that's important to note. Now let's take a look at one of my newly favorite cards, the Mesa Homeowner card. This is no annual fee, and kind of the whole point of this card is that it gets 1 point per dollar on mortgages. Now, you don't actually have to spend anything on the card, or you don't have to spend any mortgage on the card. You don't have to pay for your mortgage on the card in order to get those points. You just have to spend $1,000 on the card, and then it gives you credit for that mortgage. Now, it also, in addition to that, gets 3 points per dollar on insurance, home supply stores, furniture stores, contractors, utilities, and daycare. So it's kind of a wide open card and kind of an important card to get if you are a homeowner. And well, since I am, yeah, I'm there. It also gets 2x back on gas purchases and then 1x on everything else. So that's important to note as well. So let's take a look at my American Express Platinum card now. So this Platinum card has an annual fee of $695, but it gets 5 points per dollar on airfare and prepaid hotels through the portal. This also has a ton of lifestyle credits that I use, like the $200 FHR benefit, which I recently used this year for a trip to Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale with my wife. And then also $200 airfare fee credit, which I actually use with Delta. And then the $240 entertainment credit, which I use for Peacock and Disney Plus and Hulu. And then a $200 Uber cash credit, which comes in the form of $15 each month in Uber cash. And then in December, that is $20. So the Platinum card is really an interesting card. It gives me access to really important lounges that I use on a pretty significant basis, pretty consistent basis. The Centurion clubs, the Sky clubs, well, we have a lot of those. And then it also gives you priority pass for good measure. And then you also have some access to Lufthansa lounges if you fly with them. And so that's kind of interesting. And so it's probably a card that's going to stay in my wallet. Now, another card that I like to keep in my wallet is the Blue Business Plus. And so essentially, basically, I have this card in my wallet for specifically business expenses. Now that I'm actually having to start getting some significant business expenses with my YouTube business, having this in my wallet allows me to quickly kind of sign up for, products that I'm trying out or things like that that could help make my products better. Now, this comes with no annual fee, and you get 2 points per dollar on anything that you spend up to $50,000 in spend per year. So there is a cap of 100,000 MR points, but that's not a bad card to run this spend through. And so, well, that's going to stay in my wallet because I really enjoy being able to kind of maximize my business spending and kind of cash flow that stuff in a pretty interesting base, pretty, decent term basis. So anyway, that's basically my wallet. Now, I did do a video a couple months ago where I talk about all of my expenses and my day-to-day expenses. I questioned whether or not I could use, say, the American Express Gold card as my only single card in my wallet. And I actually came out ahead pretty decently for that. But however, when I start adding in other cards that have other bonus categories, then I'm able to kind of effectively maximize points in a significant degree. Now, it is a decent amount of work, but I am getting really a lot of more points out of it. Now, it could just be, 3,000 or 4,000 extra a month, but the fact that I'm using that means that, that kind of can add up to another premium economy seat every year that I can redeem for. And so honestly, just, kind of optimizing my wallet in a certain way kind of works for me. Now, if you want something that's simpler, the Capital One Duo is a really solid kind of opener plan. The Capital One Saver card gets 3 points per dollar on a lot of different things that people spend everyday money on. And then the Venture or the Venture X gets 2 points per dollar on, well, everything else. And so if you're looking for a simplistic wallet, that's probably a good wallet for you as well. It also needs to be said too that for gas purchases, I currently either use the Citi Custom Cash or I also can use my Business Gold card through American Express, and that gets 4 points per dollar on gas purchases. So that's kind of my wallet. Let me know what your wallet is in the comment section below, and I can't wait to see you guys. Until next time, bye.